Friday already this week. I have kept trying to pick up the camera and then just things have gone sideways and I haven't had many exciting things going on to share with you. But today, Matt and I are headed to a new garden center called Lake Street. It's new to us, it's not new in general, but friends of ours have gone there many times and always spoken very highly of it. So since we have today off, we are gonna go check it out and maybe, just maybe, get a few plants. I have felt a little bit frozen after the whole worm situation and I just haven't bought anything this year. I've been so freaked out and I feel like I need to get over that a little bit. Still be very aware and conscious, but you know, you can't stop yourself from living. So we're gonna go head over there, see what plants they have. Obviously I will be inspecting all of the soil and the plants that we get, if we get anything. But anyway, we're gonna go see what they have. If there's anything of interest, we'll grab a few plants, come home. If we have time to do some planting, we'll throw a few things in the ground, and then Matt and I are going on a little date to Kittery Point, Maine later, and I will bring you along. Well, once we started, we couldn't stop, so we're coming home with some plants. I did inspect everything and everything around the plant area to see if I saw signs of worms, and you know, at first glance everything seems okay, but we'll do a better inspection when we get home. And we also got a couple of bags of Moodoo brand compost, and I'll probably pour that into a wheelbarrow to see if there's anything going on, anything I can see before I actually throw it on the ground. But you know, in the spirit of just moving forward, we're gonna give it a go and see how things go. Flowers. I grabbed the wheelbarrow, a shovel, a pitchfork, the hand tiller, and a rake, and we're just gonna go for it. I'm gonna try to transform this front bed here into a little more of a mature perennial garden. There's some stuff in there that I've planted over the last 2 years here and there, but there's really no cohesiveness. I'm gonna take all the plants we just got, and I think probably all or most of them, I'm gonna work into this bed. I got 2 of everything so that we had a little bit of symmetry. And I tried to stick within like the blue, purple, purpley pink, and white color scheme, cause I like that color scheme. I'm not a big like yellow orange kind of gal. First, what I'm gonna do is dig out some of the existing flowers. I am going to keep them. I'm just gonna move them elsewhere on the property because they don't work with the color scheme. So I'm gonna relocate those, and then we'll kind of like place all of our containers roughly where we want to plant them, and then I'll just move them to the side, put some compost in the hole, place the plant in, and then give everything a good water. Let's see how quickly we can do this. It's also very humid outside, so I'm like just sticky as all heck. managed to get everything in the ground. The last few were a hot rush here. I just gave everything a good water, and now Matt and I are going to take a really quick shower and get ready to go to Kittery Point. I decided I'm gonna get one more hydrangea to put in the back corner here, so we have 3 spaced evenly along the back, and then everything else was kind of like grouped in pairs or like placed symmetrically. I think I got probably like 6 or 8 varieties. I'm gonna grab the tags and I'll bring them in the car with me as we drive up to Maine, so I can tell you what all of the varieties are. Okay, we are actually sitting in the parking lot at the restaurant because we are here like 25 minutes early. So while we chill for a bit, I'm just gonna walk through the flowers I planted this morning. I'll pop pictures on the screen, then I'll tell you about the restaurant we're at because it is definitely a favorite. I tried to get a variety of flowers that would bloom at different times, but I didn't really do a ton of planning before I purchased them. I just know of some of these flowers or had them on lists that I knew I wanted to get at some point. I also tried to get varying heights, so I planted the taller things in the back and then sort of like medium height in the middle or on the side, and then the lower plants in the front. So in the back, the hydrangea is the only one I don't have the tag for, and I know it's a lace cap hydrangea. I think it's variegated, which means the leaves are sort of like green and white. It's not just like a flat bright green leaf. Next to the hydrangeas, we planted some luminary backlight phlox. So those are some very tall white flowers. I also planted some anise hyssop. The variety is Little Adder. It's very tall. I actually planted some of these from seed, but these are much more mature, so while ours continue to like grow and get bigger, we've got some bigger ones in place. So that's kind of what lines the back, and like I said, I'm gonna get another hydrangea and put that in the back left corner, so I've got sort of one on each end and one in the center. Then in front of those, I bought 2 Baptisia plants, which I had at our old house, but just a different variety. These ones are the Baptisia Hybrid Plum Rosy variety. They have like a sort of purple and white flower. I also mixed in 3 different varieties of foxglove. Now, foxglove are just stunning, but they are toxic to dogs, so I would love to have them in the border garden, but because the dogs are always running out there and very curious, I figured it's probably better off to keep these in the front garden where they're not walking and playing. The 3 varieties I planted are Camelot White, which is an all white flower. The second is Camelot Lavender, so that's like a whitish lavender. And then lastly is the Pink Panther, so that one's like a vibrant purplish pink color. And I planted those in groups of 2. I also planted a few Russian sage, which are, they kind of all look the same as like catmint and lavender. They've got that like soft lavender color, but this one just spreads nicely. It's easy to divide, and when I need to divide it, I can kind of spread it in other places around the property. Lastly, in the front kind of area, I got 2 varieties of Speedwell. The dark blue, which has the like tall purpley blue spikes, and then the Venice blue, which is like a little more blue and a little less purple, but not too blue, along with one of my all-time favorites, which I purchased at our last house and I just didn't get to enjoy because we ended up moving, but the Carpathian Harebell white clips. It's like a sort of like a clump on the ground, and it just like blows up with all these little white flowers. It's really pretty. As far as I could tell, no signs of worms. You know, we'll see how things go, and you know, keep an eye on the soil, but fingers crossed everything is clear. We are now gonna head into dinner. We are at one of our favorite restaurants. We were actually planning to get married here, but we got married during COVID, so all of the plans changed and we didn't end up having the event here. It's called Pepperell Cove. It's kind of like a complex. They have multiple restaurants and venues here, and it's not like a massive complex. It's just sort of like they've got 3 buildings. They've got ice cream around the back by the water. They've got a little like shell beach area where you can sit out on the patio. They call that Frisbee's Wharf. They've also got a 3-story building closer to the road where they've got a restaurant on the lower floor, and then what they call the ski club up on the 3rd floor, which has a small little inside bar and then an outside patio which looks out over the water, and it's a stunner. So we're gonna go head in, enjoy some dinner, and I will try to snap a few clips of the water. Then after dinner we might get some ice cream and walk down to the beach. welcome to the inside of my brain. As you have just seen, I've been playing around with different layouts, and I think I have settled on the layout for this room, which I'm getting excited about because I've been able to fit some sort of little like chair, ottoman, lounge little situation in the corner here. So let me walk you through what I'm thinking. As you walk in, the door opens to the right, so we've kind of got to keep this space here clear for the door swinging. As you turn into the left, this is going to be like our main bookcase desk space. I do think the L shape in the corner is the best use of space. I originally was like against it because I'm just not a big fan of corner desks, but I think that this gives me the best working space and storage space combined. It is asymmetrical, but I think that works okay with this space given that we've got like an offset window, we've got a closet in the corner. So hear me out. On the left side here, we would have closed cabinetry. I'm thinking that might be one option for storing my LaserJet printer, as well as miscellaneous other like office items. Above that and across the whole top here, wrapping around the corner, would be a desktop surface. This portion of that top would be integrated into upper bookshelves. I'm thinking this top layer here is where I would store my big printer. It's nearly 30 inches wide and it's a large format printer, and it's important to me that it's accessible because if it's not plugged in, which currently it lives in a box, I just won't use it. And I want to use it, so I wanted to carve out space for that. However, it's a printer, it's ugly. So I'm thinking I might do like cafe curtains to kind of tuck that away down here. I thought that could be kind of a clever idea. Just something I'm thinking about. I'm not totally set on it yet, so we'll see. Above that and then across the top here would be all open shelves, so I could put books and tchotchkes and all kinds of things up there. Now I've left this space open because on the other half of the wall, wrapping around the corner, would be a desk. So that would just be a worktop. Obviously it would be open underneath for my legs. And then I want a little bit of space. I could put like a bulletin board or picture frames, or I haven't decided yet, something. And then above that, beyond my reach, would just be an extension of the bookshelf, so I could put more books up there. But I kind of like that I create this little like nook for working. And then wrapping around the corner here, I thought about bringing the bookshelves over, but I think leaving it open will make the room feel more open. If we extend the bookshelves around and sort of like bump that out, you know, let's say 10 inches, your eye is gonna perceive that as a wall. So it's gonna feel like the ceiling and the wall are kind of closing in a little bit, and I just want it to feel as open as possible. So I'm thinking we'll leave that open. Again, I could put picture frames or a mirror or I don't know what, still TBD. And then as we continue to turn around toward the closet, I actually might be able to fit like a little comfy chair. It wouldn't be a massive like lounge chair, but I could put like a little reading chair with an ottoman that I could easily tuck underneath one of these like open spaces beneath the desk here, because my chair could sit in the corner facing this wall or facing this wall. So I would have some open space if I ever needed to like move it out of the way. And then behind it is where my closet is, and I've mentioned a few times that I had some ideas around this, and I haven't quite settled on it yet, but my thinking is that we would actually create a built-in cabinet here. And then I'm actually considering splitting this closet in half. So this like slanted ceiling is actually our staircase. On the other side of this wall is the hallway next to the staircase. So if we actually divide this closet in two, keeping this front half accessible from the closet, and the back half could be accessible from the side underneath the stairs here. So we could store shoes there, or, you know, put little books or something. It's a really great space. There's obviously a lot of storage in here, but it's just so deep and awkward to get into. And I don't love how having this shelf in here kind of blocks part of the opening. So I think dividing it in two would actually give us more usable space. It would give me more storage for the office, but it's not something I would need to access all the time. So putting a chair in front of it would be totally fine. And then lastly, I was just playing around with furniture I already had. Put a little plant there so we could do a little plant stand, something small. It's not totally in the way, but it kind of just like gives a little warmth to the space that I was originally wanting from sourcing like an old desk. So hopefully you followed all of that. Obviously, things might change a little bit as we start to like narrow down final measurements, but I just was like sitting on this little fake lounge that I created with our living room ottomans, and it just feels good. It feels spacious, but I'm maximizing storage space, desk space, you know, floor to ceiling space, and it still feels cozy. Obviously, the most important thing is that this is a space I actually want to work in. And what I love the most is that if I'm sitting in my desk chair here, I can face the window, which is where our garden is. So it just gives me the ability to enjoy that space even more, and that makes me happy. And maybe we'll have to plant a few flowers along the fence there so I can enjoy that too. I think before we wrap the vlog up, I'm gonna go to one of our local antique malls and just walk around, see if I can get some more inspiration, get ideas for like decor, any way to like soften the space. I really loved my original idea of incorporating an old desk, but because we're not going to do that, I'd like to figure out some other ways to like just soften the feeling of the room, because a lot of times a big painted bookshelf that's floor to ceiling can just feel heavy, and I want to like incorporate softer elements to just make it feel cozy and warm. So I'm gonna go get ready and then we're gonna go antiquing. All right, I have arrived. We are at Canal Street Antique Mall in Lawrence, Massachusetts. It's this massive old brick mill building, and I think there are 2 floors. I think there's only 2 floors here, but it's just huge. I mean, you could spend hours in here if you were like digging through things top to bottom. But we're just gonna take a walk through, see what's there, see if we find anything of interest. They also have a new location called the Design Center, which I haven't been to yet. I think it's only open on certain days, so if it's open today, we'll walk over there. It's just kind of like kitty corner to this building, and we'll see what we find. Back home, it was toasty in those buildings, but I did come home with this beautiful ginger jar. It has the lid as well, which is really cool. I have one other ginger jar that's smaller than this, and I just love the blue and white, so I will collect those. It's not like an obsession. It's just like if I find a pattern that I love in the blue and white ginger jar shape, with the lid especially, then I will continue to grab them because I love how they look in groupings. But I thought that would be a cute little display piece for the office. Nothing else really struck my eye for the office specifically. There was a dresser that I wanted to get to replace our TV stand. I've been hunting for an old antique dresser to use in place of a TV stand just because I feel like it fits the vibe better, but the person who owned the booth was not available to negotiate, so I'll check back another time. It just wasn't meant to be. But that is it for this week. I know it was a short week, but with the holiday and all, that's the way it ended up. So thank you so much for watching this week. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for future updates. We will be back again next week with more office planning, hopefully picking up materials, and maybe, just maybe, starting to cut wood down to build cabinetry. We'll see, but progress nonetheless, and I'll catch up with you soon.